Hi, welcome. Today's story is called Pirate Pete's Giant Adventure. It is written by Kim Kennedy and illustrated by Doug Kennedy. Before we get started, I want to show you the sign for pirate. It's pretty easy. All you need to do is take one hand and cover one eye. Pirate. It's supposed to represent the patch that sometimes a pirate would wear. Can you do that with me? Pirate. Good. Now you can help me during the story.
"Hoist the sails!"
Shouted Pirate Pete.
"Avast ye!"
Wake up! Squawked the parrot. You're dreaming again! Pete opened his eye. The parrot was right. They were still adrift at sea in their little rowboat. They were getting nowhere fast, and Pete knew it.
"Oh, I wish I had a ship," moaned Pete. "Why, I'd do anything for a ship."
Just then the waves began to shimmer. In a splash of foam, a sea fairy appeared. I'll grant your wish for a ship, she offered, if you go on a special quest.
"What might that be, little matey?"
asked Pete. Go to Thunder Island, she said, and find the sea fairy sapphire. Pete had heard of the sea fairy sapphire. It was a magical stone that had been stolen from the sea fairy kingdom. Return the sapphire to the ocean, she instructed, and you will be rewarded with a wondrous ship.
"I'll do it," agreed Pete. "But how will I find the sea fairy sapphire without a map?"
Just follow the sound of thunder, said the fairy. But beware, for thunder does not always come from clouds. Then she disappeared. A brisk wind began to blow, and the little rowboat traveled swiftly. Soon, over the sound of the breeze, came the rumbling of thunder. Pete laid a hand to his ear, then checked his spyglass.
"Land ho!" cried Pete. "Thunder Island, straight ahead!"
They had just come ashore when boom, boom, boom! Claps of thunder rolled. "'Tis coming from the other side of the island," said the parrot. So off they marched through the palm trees, with Pete banging coconuts and singing.
"When I finds the sea fairy sapphire, I'll get me a ship of wonder. All I got to do is follow the sound of thunder."
By and by they came to the heart of the island. "What a strange-looking lagoon," said the parrot. "And with all this thundering, why does it never rain?" Boom! Another rumbling sounded. Pete picked up his pace, and he cried,
"When I finds the sea fairy sapphire, I'll get me a ship of wonder. All I got to do is follow the sound of thunder."
Boom! Boom! "'Tis getting louder," said the parrot. "We must be nearer." Pete looked through his spyglass. He could see something sparkling on a hill up ahead.
"I sees it," said Pete. "I sees the sea fairy sapphire."
Soon they came upon a cave, and Pete stumbled in. He grabbed the glimmering blue jewel.
"Why, 'twas easy," Pete cried.
Quick, throw it in the sea," said the parrot. "Then we'll get our ship."
"Not so fast," said Pete. "This here is a magical wishing stone. Let's see what it can do."
Pete glared into the glittering stone and commanded,
"Give me a treasure map to the world's greatest treasures."
The stone glowed a bright blue, and in a swirl of sea mist, a map appeared. Pete tucked it into his coat. "That's enough," said the parrot. "Throw the sapphire into the sea."
"Another thing," Pete told the stone. "I want the world's mightiest sword."
The sapphire glowed even brighter, and a splendid sword appeared.
That's enough,
squawked the parrot.
Now throw the sapphire into the sea so we can get our ship.
All right, grumbled Pete. But as they left the cave, a terrific crash shook the ground. Boom! 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 Pete and his parrot looked up, up, up.
A giant!
The parrot flapped.
That thunder has been coming from the giant's big feet stomping about.
Aye, gulped Pete, looking up at the big brute.
So he's the scurvy dog that hornswoggled the sapphire from the sea fairies.
The giant caught a whiff of Pete and snatched him up.
I knew I smelled a pirate,
he bellowed.
A stinky pirate.
Arr, not as stinky as you be,
growled Pete.
Oh, but you're salty too,
snarled the giant. Suddenly he saw the sapphire tucked in Pete's hand.
Trying to sneak the sapphire from me, are you?
He grumbled. The giant drew Pete even closer so that Pete could smell the stink of the old seaweed on his breath.
Do you know what I do with sneaky pirates?
Nay,
Pete said.
I yank off their hooks,
roared the giant, shaking the ground with his mighty voice. With the giant's fingers wrapped tightly around him, Pete knew there was no chance for escape. But perhaps he could outsmart him.
Ye can yank off me hook if ye wish, Pete said. Ye can use it to snatch a big mackerel fish, but just don't throw me in the sea.
The giant blinked, a bit puzzled.
What? A pirate? Afraid of the sea?
He scratched his head.
Forget your hook,
the giant decided.
I'm gonna pull off your peg leg.
Ye can pull off me peg leg if you like, said Pete. Ye can use it as a toothpick, but just don't throw me in the sea.
I'll use it as a toothpick, all right,
snored the giant.
After I eat ye, that is.
Ye can eat me if you please,
said Pirate.
Ye can boil me in a big pot of pirate stew, but just don't throw me in the sea.
Ye really are afraid of that sea, are ye?
said the giant, a glint of mischief in his eye.
Well then, how about a little swim?
With that, the giant hurled Pete into the sky. Clinging tightly to the sapphire, Pete flew into the clouds and then back down to the sea, where he landed with a great splash. Suddenly the waves began to churn and bubble. Then up from the deep an amazing ship arose with Pirate Pete aboard.
You tricked me,
shouted the giant as he plowed into the water and grabbed the ship's anchor.
We're doomed, squawked the parrot. He's pulling us in.
The sapphire can't save you now,
the giant laughed.
Nay,
said Pete,
but me mighty sword can.
Pete drew the shiny sword, and with the slightest touch, its gleaming blade cut the chain. The ship was set free.
Now ye for a bit me own thunder,
Pete shouted.
Fire cannon!
With a tremendous boom, a cannonball shot from the ship, sending the giant fleeing back to the shore. Then a mighty wind filled the ship's sails, and off she went, far and away from Thunder Island. The sea fairies had fulfilled their promise indeed. Pete's new vessel was the most wondrous ship to ever sail the high seas.
"Ah, fine sailing, Mother,"
cheered the parrot.
"Aye,"
called Pete, unfurling his new treasure map, and with a gleam in his eye, he sang,
"I found the seafarer sapphire, and I got me a ship of wonder. I'm off again to distant lands, where there'll be jolly good treasure to plunder."
Now, do you remember the sign for pirate? Pirate. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And hit that notification bell so you know when a new story is available. And remember to join our Facebook group as well. Thank you.